music wise, because my channel is Single Mum Musician. I set it up when I was living in Spain because I couldn't find any like inspiration. I was looking for how are other single mums continuing to be working musicians. Couldn't find anything. I was like, it must be done because I'm a musician. What else am I supposed to do? And I couldn't find anything. But I do think there must be. Well, I know at least one mum in Spain is doing it. I mean, she has family to help, but I thought there's got to be other ones. And I actually know a single mum DJ that I work with in London who's doing it. But that's why I set up the channel, and I was gonna actually post vlogs. But single mum life gets quite busy, so it didn't happen. So at the moment, I'm just doing. I'm not performing. I refuse to perform in England. They just don't pay enough. I'm not gonna come back to a country I didn't want to come back to a salary that I left in the 90s. I'm just not gonna do that. So I'll tutor. I'll do my session vocals. I'll do some festivals. Licensing vocals, that's going really well actually. So I would rather, if I've got to have a decreased income, I'd rather it be because I'm doing something different than to do what I used to do. But to drop some zeros off, I'm not gonna do that. It is what it is. I hate living here. I hate it. What I really hate the most is seeing that my child has lost so much of her childhood. We came here 2 months before her 7th birthday. She's 11 now. So she missed her best childhood years in the country. She should have had those in the country she was born in. And I used to sit there in Spain, even as a single mum, and when things were really hard, I'd sit there and I'd watch her playing on the beach or playing in the city, in the old town, and the culture, and I'd just think, we're so lucky. She is so lucky that she's growing up here. And I was just really grateful for, no matter how hard it got, I knew I was doing the right thing for my daughter. And having to come to England, I know that's the right thing, but it's not, it wasn't really a proper choice, you know what I mean? It was like, you don't really have a choice. It was like, you can either go back to your birth country or you can sleep under a bridge, because we've done this pandemic, and even though we've taken self-employed taxes off you for all these years, we're not going to give you any furlough. We're not going to let you, we're not going to let you work. We're just going to shut all the bars and shut all the restaurants and shut all the vineyards and just shut the hotels, and you're just going to have to live on fresh air. So, the alternative was to come to England, because I paid taxes in this year, at least. I paid taxes in this country for decades. So I was like, well, at least if I can go to England, I can get a little bit of help, like everyone else who comes to this country. But it was never, if it hadn't been for COVID, I never would have come back to this country. And the second I can go again, I am gone, and I am never coming back here. But I have to do it properly. I can't wing it with a child. When I was just single, no child, I could have taken a singing gig and stayed in a hotel. Can't do that with a child. And I can't risk going home, taking her back to Spain, and then we get into some kind of financial strife, and I've lost, as much as I hate the flat I'm in, it took me 8 months to get it. So if I lose that, I've just had loads of camembert sandwich repeating on me. if I lose that, I'm like, I'm screwed, aren't I? So, and my tooth just fell out. Half my tooth fell out, so I'm talking a bit weird because the sharp bit is rubbing on my tongue constantly. I had a filling in it anyway ages ago. It was like an old filling that needed attention. And I've got a wisdom tooth that started coming through behind it, so the wisdom tooth was pushing forward, and then I am grinding my teeth, and I think the combination just weakened it. And then 2 days ago or 3 days ago, I was sat there eating, and I'm like, what's that in my mouth? Because it felt harder than what I was eating, and I just pulled this tooth out. I'm like, great. So yeah, I'm gonna have to deal with that because it hurts. The tooth doesn't hurt, but the sharp point on my tongue does. So I'm gonna have to deal with that. So this was like a bit of a moan, and some of my videos are gonna be like that because, you know, single parenting is tough. Being a musician who's not in the place I should be to do my job is tough. You have to just find other ways to work. I'm managing to be self-employed, and you know, I'm doing all right. I am doing good because it's like I'm doing good for where I am. I'm doing good for where I am. You know, I'm not entitled to benefits. I earn too much, apparently, even though I've worked it out, and I'd probably earn more on benefits. It's like, I would literally be like rewarded for not working. I would be rewarded for not working, but I choose to work because I'm not made to work for somebody else. I'm just not. So if I were to claim benefits, I would have to be available for any type of jobs, wouldn't I? And I'm just not cut out for it.